It's time for Aaron Does It Wrong in support of Casey Hudson and WorldWorkings.com. Once again, we're looking at the way an avian species would evolve and utilize tools. You'll remember that the Sternovula species in Casey's Drifting Amalgams universe begin the novel as a Mesolithic stone tool-using species. I'm going to illustrate these tools using clay. A garden planting stake armature will be at the base, and I don't have enough black clay, so I'll mix in some gray to represent an obsidian rock. To sculpt this rock tool, we're going to take material from one end and bulk up the other end. At this level of their development, the Sternovula would be knapping these blades to create tools that they need for each job. Being birds without hands, they're not able to carry multiple tools, so a band or small party would require different members to carry different tools. Basically, a full band of Sternovula is a Sternovula toolkit. Using my wood tools, I'll carve out the cleaves and chips that indicate that a creature has crafted this tool, rather than it being a tool of convenience that they found on the ground broken from a natural occurrence. For the first time in my sculpting builds, I'll spray some isopropyl alcohol on the build to remove my fingerprints. Here's a discussion point. I think the most underrated human invention is cordage. At this development stage, the Sternovula might use it in basket making or even in the construction of their roosts or houses. But then, sewing technology would also be required. In my mind, the Sternovula would craft an awl-like needle out of a fishbone and carve a knock into the sharp end. Here, using tools to make other tools leaves tool marks, and I'm making sure that I show this. But we still need to make cordage. I was taught to do this by tying a small loop in the middle of a plant fiber. And this can be attached either to your toe, a tree, or a dinosaur. Then, you twist both fiber segments one way and counter wrap it. You can see that these fibers break easily on their own, but cordage is a lot stronger than this, and you can simply splice a new bit of fiber at the break and continue to twist and wrap. Though, I am curious if an avian species would be able to make cordage. It requires a dexterous hand for an individual to make this, but could a cooperative avian species mimic this dexterity? I say probably. You can even use your cordage to bind the chives that you harvested from your garden. But now our rock is out of the oven, and I will dry brush it with white paint to highlight the edges, and use some wood finish to make it shiny. I'll give the needle a black wash to make sure that I highlight the tooling marks so that future aviapologists can see that this was not natural but made by ancient Sternovula. This is how I envision the needle is used. The Sternovula inserts the pointy end through whatever is being stitched together, the cordage is rested in the knock, and the needle is pulled back, pulling the cordage through. This is repeated until whatever is being sewed together is sewed together. Working cooperatively, a band of Sternovula can quickly stitch together a basket or even a roost. But now we need to explore how an avian foot can hold a stone tool. I'll start by making a foot armature with more wire, and measure against the stone blade for size. With the toes all trimmed, I'll cover the armature in orange clay. I'm using colored clay for this because I don't want to paint this too much later. I'll smooth it together, but still keep it fairly lumpy because anatomy always has weird lumps around joints. I can remove the clay from one part of the foot and use it to highlight the knobblies where the talon joints are. Further, I can remove more clay from the toes to highlight the knuckles versus where the metatarsal bones are. With a final test fit, I can add final details like skin folds, and I'll texture it with a stiff paintbrush. Then I can make the actual talons from the vivid yellow clay. These are cones that I jab onto the ends of the feet and blend together with the feet. Then it's into the oven to bake, and I can start to build my museum quality display stand. I'll glue my cordage example onto the base, trying to show how the needle works, and while the glue dries, my foot is out of the oven and it gets an orange wash over the foot and a yellow wash over the talons. Then, finally, a black wash will show all of the cracks and skin folds. This adds the "I work really hard with hand tools" look as well. With the foot glued onto the rock in the way that I think a sternovula would hold a stone tool, I can attach it to the base and I can present you Mesolithic avian tool use. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting Casey at worldworkings.com. She's going to start posting technology stat sheets, so head on over if you're interested in how Stone Age technology might work on a space station. This has been Aaron Does It Wrong.